G'day everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Instant Mood Improver, the podcast where we talk to people all about the music that turns their frown upside down, puts a pep in their step, and otherwise makes this miserable thing known as existence a little bit more enjoyable, if only for 3 minutes at a time. Today's guest is a songwriter who I've loved since I was quite small. It is Ben from Armour for Sleep. How are you?
Good, Ben. How are you? Good to talk to you.
Yeah, good to talk to you too, man. Now, we open every episode of this podcast with one very simple question. And that question is, Ben, what is a song that instantly improves your mood the moment you hear it?
Um, it's a tough question, but if I had to pick one song that improved my mood, it would have to be "Say It Ain't So" by Weezer. Even though that it's kind of a bummer of a song, um, but I've loved that song for so long, and literally, if I'm anywhere on the planet and that song comes on, I literally have a smile on my face. I feel like that song is like in my soul somehow. And I still don't know what it's about after all these years. I have no idea what he's talking about.
That's the best though, right? Because it becomes yours then. Like its meaning
Yeah,
becomes up to you to interpret, and you've interpreted that as a source of happiness. So the
yeah,
beauty of
yeah.
music, right there. Now I'm sure millions of people around the world agree with you on "Say It Ain't So" being a great song, and I'm sure many use it to
Mm,
improve their mood. Which kind of gets to the point of the podcast, which is talking about the way that music does play that role in our lives, the way that it can
mm,
provide a source of uh, a boost, or it can also provide comfort. Now,
hmm
as a band, Armour for Sleep existed in a time period where emo was very, very big, and exists
hmm
again now in a time when emo has been on a massive revival. So
hmm
I'm sure people have told you that your music does that for them. Is that
hmm
correct?
Yeah, yeah. It's been a blessing. That yeah, we've had fans, who listened to us 20 years ago when we were initially putting out music, who, have tattoos of our lyrics and of our artwork. And that's been amazing. And then also we have this whole new young generation of kids, 18, 19-year olds who obviously weren't alive when we were first doing things, who are now getting into it and it's speaking to them, clicking with like the new generation of people of that age. So it's been nuts to witness the whole thing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I was watching you at When We Were Young last year, actually,
Mm,
play
hmm
What to
Oh,
Do When You
cool.
Were Dead in full, which, by the way, show and tell time.
Oh, you got it.
But
Nice.
wait,
But wait, there's more.
still intact.
Wow, good
What
condition too.
what to do when you are dead? A comprehensive guide to your afterlife.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Uh, that was a cute inclusion in the CD. I remember when I got it, I was
Thank you.
amazed. But I remember staying at When We Were Young and watching you play those songs and watching the reaction from the people in the
Mm,
crowd. Um, it was such a connection between strangers. Their the
yeah.
love of your band and their love of that moment. And it looked like you guys were quite moved by seeing people
Yeah.
be that into something that you created so long ago.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's amazing and it's crazy and it's been a wild ride and at the end of the day, we've been through a lot, but to have people who have reacted that way to something we made so long ago, something that's, kind of like transcended um our band even or any of us personally, like it's just really, really fucking cool. Like it's been amazing to watch. And I remember being in the recording studio making that album on my 21st birthday. Like that's a memory I have in my head. So I was a baby when I wrote that album. And like thinking about it now, like I would if I found out a song was written by a 20-year-old kid, I'd be like, that's probably like bullshit. So the fact that people have related to something, that I did that long ago is also kind of crazy to me, you know.
And it's weird as a songwriter, I agree, because I also make music on a much smaller level, but I also make music to have something that you put out in the world when you're much younger. Um, out
Yeah.
there connecting with people many years later. But that's the cool thing about music, right? It's kind of a
Yeah.
time machine. It,
Yes.
yeah, it can take people back to the moment when they first heard a song, or it can take people back to a moment to the feelings they were having when they heard a record, and then that can be different for everyone at a show, but the meaning is still meaningful. Like it still has a profound
Yeah.
connection to them, and I think that's really really cool and one of the very rare things in the world that
Yeah.
you get to do for a living is continue to bring joy and an opportunity for connection to people.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not lost on me. And we live in a bizarre time when everyone's talking about AI taking over, and there are all these AI bands, and people are like, is AI going to replace human art? And then like you said, the fact that like what we do every night is we get up on stage and we play songs that have meant something to people. um it kind of puts all that in perspective, and we feel really lucky that we get to do this.
Now, the cool thing about your band at this point in time is that it's not just all nostalgia. You are making new music, and you put
Yeah,
out your
true.
second record
Yeah.
since your reformation
Yeah. Hmm.
just recently, and it is called "There Is No Memory." Now, I understand this
Thank
was
you. Thank you for bringing that up.
of course, I understand this was a pretty personal journey for you. Again, putting through
Hmm.
this record. How does it feel to be on the other side of that experience?
It feels awesome. You know, albums for me, like the albums I do in Armor for Sleep, are always very personal, and every song comes from something that I've gone through in my life that is important to me. I would feel like a complete fraud if I ever like lied when I wrote songs. So these are all things um that come from my heart, and every album that I do is like a chapter mark of where I am in my life. Like similar, like our first album, Dream to Make Believe, I listened to that and I remember where I was when I was 17 years old, and my first love, and like that's like a chapter marker for that point in my life. So this new album, There Is No Memory, is similarly, it's a chapter marker for where I am now. And I think one of the coolest things about what I do is that I get these chapter markers in my life, and that years down the line, I can remember exactly where I was at this moment in time and what I had been through, and I think writing this album was very cathartic for me, and it helped me get to the other side of a lot of things that I had to work through.
You can hear it
Thank you.
in the record itself. Like you can hear how much
Thank you.
has gone into it. I thought the concept was pretty interesting too.
Thank
Uh,
you so much.
how did you come up with this idea of I suppose taking an outside look at your own experience of life?
Yeah.
Like for example, Last Days is a fascinating concept. This idea of an ex being on their deathbed looking back at effectively you.
Yeah. 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 Um, so I don't know, writing this. So every Armor for Sleep album, I like to have like some kind of theme or concept. Obviously, What to Do When You're Dead was the story about a guy who is a ghost in purgatory. So for this album, I still really love doing albums that have a concept. And where I was in my life personally, I was feeling like all of these sometimes traumatic and painful moments from my life, I was feeling like they were kind of like pulling the strings and like keeping me from getting to the places where I want to go. And like, I want to be happy in my life, and I have a lot to look forward to. And I was feeling like a lot of these things from my past that I wasn't addressing were holding me back. And I don't know if other people can kind of like relate to this, but then I was like, how fucking weird is it that memories and things we've been through from years ago can like haunt us for the rest of our lives? Like what is a memory? Like why can I not let go of this experience in my head? So yes, I wanted to write a whole album about me kind of like trying to unpack a lot of this shit that I wanted to get past, and just examining how weird memories are in general. And you know, so that's what this album, where it came from.
It's fascinating. I love how your mind works in that way, and I'm sure that's one of the things that helps to keep the band feeling fresh to you as well. Like the fact that
Yeah.
you're constantly recreating these different ways of writing probably keeps it feeling
Yeah.
innovative to you versus, say, a band that follows a distinct formula?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And you're right. It's like I don't ever want to bore myself. So like I could never go like writing an album is really fucking hard and I spent a lot of time staring at the wall and um I don't want to put all this effort into something that I don't feel is interesting to me. So a lot of times I want to amuse myself and I want to be like, whoa, that would be really sick and finding all these different connections. I'm really just amusing myself, at the end of the day. So
Is there a particular track on the new one that you're most keen to be able to play live slash show people its vision in the live environment?
Yeah, one day, and this is not necessarily the most like people wouldn't think this would be the best song, but the last song on the album is called All the Best. And it I think the first like 2 minutes there are like no drums at all. It's just me and a guitar, and then it builds and has this big outro. And that song is kind of like a summary of the whole album and kind of like me coming to terms with everything that I'm talking about. So um I I love that song and this sounds weird, but I had that whole song written in my head without having written a word of it. Like I knew what I wanted to say and I had this vision for it, but it took me a really long time to find the exact words. So when I finally did, it was like finishing this like puzzle that was in my mind for years really. And so yeah, so I'm excited one day to play that song live. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Perhaps you could give it an airing in Australia because you are coming here, not for the first time
Yeah,
for you personally, but for the first time for the
yeah,
band next
correct.
year with Hawthorne Heights, sorry, not Hawthorne, Four Heights. Sorry, guys. That's fun. It's like your two bands became one band.
Yeah,
Hawthorne for Sleeping Heights. I'm going to come up with a name for this tour by
yeah,
the end of
yeah, there you
this.
go. That's
Yeah.
what yeah, we'll rebrand the tour. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, you're coming out with Hawthorne Heights, who are doing a 20th anniversary tour, If Only You Were Lonely. And you're
Hmm.
coming out to play down here for the first time as a full band. Now, it's kind of crazy that you never toured here back in the day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is kind of crazy, but at the same time, when we were really doing things in the early 2000s, were there a lot of bands coming to Australia? I feel like the world was smaller then. Like the scene was not as big as it is now, you know what I mean? So I don't think it was as common. Sure, bands did it, but like I think it's only been in the last like 10 years that like bands are doing international stuff more regularly. But we fucked up. We missed Australia back in the day. So
Yeah, I was around for that like heyday of that scene out here. And to be
hmm.
fair, it was predominantly either package tours, festivals, or stuff like Taste of Chaos. That was kind of
Right.
the way in for most acts of that
Hmm.
kind. So unless you were happened to have got invited to one of those, it kind of makes sense that a band at a smaller level wouldn't have got the crack at it. But
Yeah.
it is great that you're coming out now. And I know I actually work on socials in the industry, and I remember posting something about this tour. And you would think that everyone would be super stoked because Hawthorne Heights are coming back. But the vast majority of people that we saw comment were about Armor for Sleep coming for the first
Ah,
time.
that's awesome. Hell yeah.
So
That's
sorry, Hawthorne
awesome.
Heights. It's cool that you're coming out. It's cool that you're bringing Armor for Sleep, but it seems Australia is more excited about Armor for
Hell
Sleep.
yeah. Yeah, we're stoked. We're very stoked. It's been one of those things like on Instagram over the years, whenever we'd announce a tour, there'd be like comments, come to Australia, come to Australia. And we're like, guys, we would love to, but it's kind of a big trip. So yeah, we're to finally be making it down there, is something that we don't take lightly. And also we never get to, it's very rare that we get to play in a country where we've never played before. So it's we all have a respect for that and yeah, we can't wait to get down there.
Pretty cool. Now, a lot of musicians have these weird visions of Australia, and I don't want to like ruin any of those. So I do want to
Mm.
know what's something that you're most excited about coming here is.
uh Number one, I really want to get into Vegemite properly. It's I've tried it before. I think my mind was a little closed to what it could be, and I feel like I'm in a more mature place in my life where I'm ready to accept it. Um, so that's honestly probably what I'm most excited about.
So getting into Vegemite properly will improve your mood not only
There you go. Yes.
instantly
Well,
but forever when you're down in
yeah.
Australia, which is
Yeah.
good. Which is
Yeah.
good to know. Have you given any
Yeah.
thought to what you're going to play? Because you're kind of going to have to thread the needle here between playing people songs they've never had the chance to hear and playing your new stuff.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we couldn't be more proud of our new album. Um, but when we're coming to a country where we haven't played before, we definitely, you know, understand that we got to play the songs that people have missed over the years. So we're definitely going to play, all the old stuff that we feel like people would be happy to see. And I'm sure because we love it, we'll sprinkle in a couple new songs. But we're also not going to be that band that shows up and plays the entire new album front to back without playing an old song. We don't want to do that to people.
There you go, people. You've heard it here.
Yeah,
Can't no takes backsies. He
yeah,
is committed to playing Car Underwater. Uh,
yeah, yes. We'll play
um,
multiple times. We'll play Car Underwater 10 times in a row. That's what Australia wants.
you just get up on stage. You're like, that's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
You know what? You are coming out during a time period. Like a lot of Americans do think of Australia as being like this heavenly place, but there's a chance you might catch some rainfall while you're here. So you
Oh,
can
that's
go
fun.
home and tell them legitimately that it does rain in heaven all day long.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it was
I like
terrible,
it.
but I had to get in there. It's sort of a
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Now, before I let you check off to your next media call, I
Mm,
just wanted to know, in your opinion,
mhm.
who is the best emo band of all time?
Ooh, the best emo band of all time. What do you mean when you say emo?
Whatever you
Uh,
want it to mean. The label is freely interpretable.
mm, wow, amazing question. So I'm going to say I think the best emo band of all time. I gotta go with a band who was there early on, who influenced a lot that came after them. And I think the first emo band I really liked influenced me a lot. So I'm gonna have to go with Sunny Day Real Estate. I think um, I think Diary changed uh, the entire sound of the scene, which was that album is just insane, really, really redefining what emo is. And then they continued on to make outstanding albums. How It Feels to Be Something On and The Rising Tide are my favorites. So yeah, I gotta give it to Sunny Day. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And that's what we call content for TikTok. Uh, um, thanks for joining me today, Ben, for this chat. I really appreciate it. I really look forward to seeing Arm of Sleep touch down in Australia for the first time. People,
Thank you
if
so
you're
much.
listening or watching, go out and check out There Is No Memory, the new record from Arm of Sleep. It is named after a warning message that I saw on my computer 2 days ago and freaked out very much so because the whole thing stopped working. It's a true
Mm,
story. If you've never heard it for some reason, go check out Say It And So by Weezer. Fantastic song. And yeah, definitely check out Diary by Sunny Day Real Estate. I'm there with you on
yeah.
them being the OG emo gods. So shout out to that. Yep. So April, I'm off asleep, coming out. Hawthorne Heights. See you around.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.